Madeline was late. That's the first line of this story, and it's the key to what it's about. It's called Crash Course. Madeline was late. Oh dear, why did everything go wrong on the most important days? She so much wanted this job and she was going to be late for the interview. That's not the way to impress any potential employer. She shoved the gear stick into reverse as if it was the cause of her problems, and with a quick glance beyond the gate shot out onto the main road. The loud crunch rocked her car sideways, and the car that had not been there slammed into the side of the passenger door behind her. Fuming, she got out of the car, the last straw of frustration. The smart businessman type was already out of his car. "What were you thinking of reversing onto a main road like that?" he said. She was even angrier because he'd got in first. "And what speed were you doing in a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit?" she snapped back. "There's a sharp bend there, for goodness sake." She wanted to kick the side of his car. Instead, she burst into tears. His tone softened. "Look, don't cry. Neither of us are hurt, and I'm sure our insurance companies will sort out the rights and wrongs. I'm afraid I'm late for work. Are you happy to leave it with the insurance companies, or would you rather involve the police?" He said it as kindly as he could. "What, so they can book you for speeding?" she snarled. She knew she was being unreasonable, but she just couldn't seem to help it. At this point, old Mr. Jenner from the next house, face full of concern, arrived. "Hello, Madeline, have you got a problem?" "Yes, I have. This maniac just pranged my car." The other driver looked at his broken headlight and front crumpled wing, but decided to say nothing. Mr. Jenner scratched his head. "Were you reversing out again? I did warn you, Maddie. Have you changed insurance companies?" "Look," said Mr. Businessman, "I have an appointment and have to go. What's the name of your insurance company?" They exchanged details, and he gave her his personal business card, which she put in her pocket without even looking at it. He added, "I think both cars should be drivable, but they will need attention. We both seem to be worrying about being late, so I'm going to get going." Speedily, he shot off and gave a wave as he left. "Cheek," Madeline said. "Well," Mr. Jenner announced, "you were in the wrong, Maddie, my love. You should be grateful that neither of you were hurt." If the old boy was not always so nice to her, she would have told him to mind his own business. But Mr. Jenner saw her safely out of the gate after he checked that none of the damaged metal was near the wheels. Despite all the events of the morning, Madeline was in fact just 5 minutes late for her appointment. The lady in reception pointed her up 2 steps and along the corridor to the last door on the right. She entered, and a pretty, youngish secretary offered her a chair near her own desk. "He won't be long. He's running a little late behind this morning. He's interviewing the other applicant. Now don't look so worried. It's my job you're applying for." "Oh? So why are you leaving?" Maddie asked. "Well, my husband has a chance of promotion to his dream job. The company say that if he will move to Cardiff, they'll have a job for me too. So it's goodbye Belfast and hello Wales." "I see. What's he like to work for?" "Oh, he's just fine, debonair bachelor type, but with a heart of gold." "Really?" "Oh yeah. He loves his work, but he enjoys his players well, and he's very kind and generous to all of us that work here." The intercom buzzed. "Right, okay, Andrew, I'll send Miss Hamilton in." Maddie met a very pretty blonde in the corridor, and they exchanged smiles. Nothing dumb about her, I bet, she was thinking, as the smart business suit and briefcase made an impression on her. She wasn't as switched on as that. When she entered the office labelled Andrew Selby, Managing Director, her confidence seemed to sink to her ankles like a discarded garment. Selby looked up, and Madeline Hamilton froze in the doorway. But Mr. Selby gave her a friendly smile and then chuckled. "Ha! It's you!" He leaned back in his chair. "Life is so full of irony, Miss Hamilton, is it not?" Madeline hesitated. She just wanted to run. He was laughing, but she was on the verge of tears again. Life was cruel. "Come on in and please sit down." "Is there any point?" "If you're interested in the job, there's every point. I have only 2 applicants and need the post filled quickly." Madeline hesitated, looked at the floor. Andrew Selby stood up. He took her arm. "Look, Miss Hamilton, we had an unfortunate first meeting. To be quite honest, your driving is nothing to do with your secretarial skills." or yours to be managing director, she whispered loudly. That's better. Now sit down. Tea or coffee? Choosing coffee, she waited while he buzzed through for 2 strong coffees, feeling they were needed. She looked around the room. It was a mixture of efficiency and Selby's personal touch. A ship in a bottle on top of a shelf of files, and on his desk a photograph of Concorde in the clouds. On the wall behind there was a large photograph of Belfast waterfront area, including the famous shipyard cranes. The interview was very informal, and despite herself she found him charming. He asked her a couple of questions about her CV, and he asked why she had not gone to university after such good A-level examination results. She felt this was a mark against her, but said, I had no desire to go to university. I just wanted to get out and work and earn something. He smiled. I was exactly the same. What's your social life like? He asked. She said she enjoyed a good concert, a meal with good friends. Also, she went for a run 5 nights a week and hoped to run in the Belfast Marathon again this year. Do you use it to raise money for anyone? He inquired. Yes, the Macmillan nurses. My grandfather died of cancer and they were so good to him. He nodded sympathetically and seemed to approve. I see you worked for J-Way Productions. I was sorry when they folded up. I know Jason Whalen. He had some great ideas. Did you enjoy working for him? Yes, and Jason was a good boss, but it was a little bit frustrating sometimes, she said. Well, why was that? She hesitated. He couldn't seem to change course if things weren't working out. Immediately she wished she hadn't said that. However, he replied, That seems a perceptive and accurate observation, I think, Miss Hamilton. Any other hobbies besides driving? I swim regularly. I also have an interest in local history, but this time she did smile at the driving quip. If you were working for me and I was in Dublin on business on Tuesday and rang you requesting your presence Wednesday morning, unexpectedly, what would you say? I've got no ties. I travel on the earliest train. How would you cope if I was under stress and I was a bit snappy, unreasonable? Like this morning, you mean? She just wished she hadn't said that as well. She'd blown it for sure. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Well, he said I probably was driving at 40 miles an hour. Said Maddie, and I probably shouldn't have been reversing onto a main road. They both smiled and looked into each other's faces. Then he looked a little embarrassed. Miss Hamilton, Madeline, would you be able to come back at 2 p.m. and I would tell you if you have the job? I'd like to hang on to your references and CV until then, okay, but I need to do that with both of you to be fair. Yes, she said, that's fine. Maddie killed some time with a look round Marks and Spencer's, but resisted the temptation to spend. Except for a coffee and a tray break that was. Though she thought through the events of the day, she couldn't see much that was positive. If only she wasn't so hot-headed. There was no way he would employ her. Why would he? At 1:45 she was sitting with the secretary again, and the girl told her to relax and have confidence. But she was sure he was going to shoot her hopes to pieces by way of revenge, and she so much wanted this job. She had made such a mess of the interview. At exactly 2 o'clock she was buzzed into the managing director's office. She sat in the chair and waited while Mr. Selby concluded a telephone conversation. On the table she noticed a copy of the Watchtower and Awake magazines, and was pleased that he read them too. He put down the phone and smiled. Well, Madeline, have you ever been to Paris? No. Now she was confused. Well, I hope you still want the job, because I have to go there in 2 weeks and I need the help of my secretary. It's a new opportunity to gain an impressive client, but it'll be more than a one-man job. Next week would be time enough to train you so that you could cope with that. So I've taken the liberty of booking rooms in a hotel in Paris. Is that okay? Maddie was stunned. But I thought... You thought wrong. The other applicant was a very nice girl, but I never saw the real person. You're real, spirited, honest. You've got excellent references. If you say yes, I promise you we will at least make time to see the Eiffel Tower while we're in Paris. As you said this morning, Mr. Selby... call me Andrew, please. Everybody here does. As you said this morning, Andrew, Life is full of irony. The biggest irony, though, was that in 2 years they would be married, and the information in those magazines sitting on his desk, and others like them, would have them pursuing something much more important together than their careers. Hope some of you enjoyed that. Just a little story. Hope everybody's well. Love and peace to you. Bye bye for now. Bye.